what is a PFAS and what is contained in the group of PFAS. PFAS are a very large group of chemical substances. Depending on whom you talk to, it's a couple of thousand to even 10,000 or more substances. Their specific characteristic is that they contain a very large number of fluorine atoms in their chemical structure. Sorry to get a bit chemical on that end. And the fact that they contain that large amount of fluorine means that they have very specific properties. They have a very high chemical and they have a very high thermal stability, which means they also both repellent to water and oil. And that's why we find them in a very large number of applications. So what we know as an end consumer is, for example, protective clothing. It used to be a lot in outdoor clothing for water repellency, but also, of course, in clothing for specific applications like firefighters. It's also used in cookware. I think we've all heard about Teflon at one point in time. Food packaging is one application, but there's also, of course, a lot of industrial applications where these products come in useful because of their specific properties. But there's a downside to that as well. Because of these properties, they don't degrade very easily. So once they're out and in the environment, they don't break down and they're not getting anywhere. So they also called forever chemicals because they stay around for so long. And there's quite a lot of environments where we find them as pollutants in soil or water, for example. And what has also been found, and that's another disadvantage, is that they have adverse effects on human health. So they can cause harm to reproduction. They sometimes suspected to cause cancer or have a negative impact on embryonic development. So in total, they have very beneficial properties for a large number of applications, but the downside of it, they are out and about in the environment and they don't degrade and they have negative impacts on health of humans and animals. So if we look at why manufacturing companies need to look at PFAS now, they have come more and more in focus of regulators. The first regulations happened almost 20 years ago in European Union, for example, regulating very small and specific subgroups of that large family of PFAS substances. What's now changed is that all PFAS, so all of these 10,000 substances, have become the focus of regulations. The EU is working on a very broad regulation, which is also a digression from what the EU has done before, regulating just very small amounts of substances. So the EU is going very broad. And on the other hand, reporting obligations have come into place in US, where you're asked to report back anything that you've put on the market back to 2011. All of these substances with obligations, there's been a shift now just recently to start reporting in 2026. And that's the massive challenge. You have a massive amount of substances and you're looking at a very long time frame that you need to track back to. The challenges are in PFAS reporting is, first of all, understanding what actually is covered. You're not just looking at one or two substances, you're looking at a very large family of substances. So how do you find out which ones you actually talk about? And then you need to be able to handle that very large number of substances. It's not just that you have a tiny list and you have a small slip of paper and you can note it down. You have to handle that. And then you need to get an overview of the information you already have, trying to find out, do I have enough information to determine, is there something in my products? Or am I handling something? And if there's nothing, you most probably need to go down in the supply chain and find out with your suppliers, are there substances that we need to take into account? And that means your suppliers also have to understand what you're talking about and also have to grapple with that very large volume.